In recent years, after talking with my friends, we came to the conclusion that this movie is one of the best rom-coms of the 2010s. Bonjour, hi my loves! I hope you're doing well, I hope you're doing fine. So in today's episode, I'm gonna talk how criminally underrated the movie LOL USA is. But before we start, I'm gonna give y'all a little synopsis of this movie in case y'all haven't watched it. So this movie is centered around the main character played by Miley Cyrus. Her name is Lola Williams, but we call her LOL in the movie. She's a teenager facing the typical highs and lows of high school life. After a painful breakup with her boyfriend Chad, Lola realizes that her best friend Kyle, played by Douglas Booth, may be the one she truly cares for. Kyle is a guitarist in a band and shares similar affection for her, but their growing connections complicate their friendships and creates tension in their tight-knit friend group. Lola's life is even more challenging with her often turbulent relationship with her mother. Her mother is played by the actress Demi Moore, and her character's name is Anne, who's recently divorced and struggling to manage her personal life while attempting to guide her daughter. This mother-daughter dynamic lies at the heart of the film, exploring the misunderstandings, secrets, and emotions that affect their bond. I tried to keep the synopsis pretty vague because I don't want to spoil it, but this movie is so fucking good, and here's why it is so fucking good. So my credentials is I've watched this movie 3 times in my life. The first time it was during my early teenage years, the second time was during my late teenage years, and the third time was 2 days ago. And you need to know something about me is I never rewatch movies, even if it's been like years and years and years. Like, I'm not the type to just rewatch a movie because I see it as a waste of time, but now I'm kind of in this era of my life to rewatch all the old movies that I used to love. And this one, every time that I've watched it, 3 times, which keep in mind, I never rewatch movies. But this one just gets better every fucking time. And every time that I watch it, I feel like I understand things that I haven't the time before. Like, wow. Little disclaimer, you know when you're young and you watch a movie and like when you're older, you're like, oh, this movie is like so fucking good. So you rewatch this movie and you're like, hold on, that was not good at all. I guess I thought it was good because I was younger, but this movie, I swear, it's still fucking good being an adult watching it. Like, this movie is even better watching it as an adult because it feels like a comfort movie. Like, it has all the perfect elements to be a comfort movie. And I feel like, I don't know, it's so fucking good. So here's the reason why this movie is so fucking good. There's a lot. So if by the end of this, you're not convinced to at least give a chance to this movie, you're heartless. So first of all, we have Miley Cyrus. When she did this movie, it was right when she stopped doing Hannah Montana. It was 2 years after making the movie The Last Song with her ex-boyfriend Liam Hemsworth. It was during the peak. I mean, Miley Cyrus had multiple peaks in her career. Don't get me wrong. It was at a specific peak in her life where she was the it girl. Every teenage girl, every child wanted to be fucking Miley Cyrus. Her style, her hair, you don't get how much I wanted, and I still fucking want Miley Cyrus's hair during like the 2010s, 2012 years of her life. Like, I'll put on some pictures, like her long, like reddish, brownish hair with some highlights, like so fucking good. So fucking good, so fucking pretty. And also, Douglas Booth. This beautiful British man, but in the movie he has an American accent, but he still has this little British charm, playing a guitarist and singing in a band. Like, this movie is so Wattpad coded, like, and it was during these years that Wattpad was really popping off, and every girl had her little like Wattpad time before going to sleep. Like, let's just be honest towards each other. This is a safe space. I can say that comfortably and you can agree comfortably. Another point is the fashion is so, again, 2010, 2012, like so fucking good. Like, every outfit, like when I rewatched it 2 days ago, it was so simple and effortless, but it was giving. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like, so fucking good. And every character has its own little fashion, and it didn't feel forced. It felt natural. And this movie overall didn't feel forced at all. Like I said in the synopsis, this movie represented well not every teenage girl's high school experience, but when it came to the emotions of how we felt during high school, like angst, jealousy, anger, difficult maybe relationship with our mothers, we felt insecure, but at the same time we felt like so powerful and kind of reckless, but like the good sense of reckless, you know? And this movie portrayed these emotions so fucking well that when I watched this movie for the third time 2 days ago, I had to hold on to the movie. By the way, this movie is on Prime Video. I had to pause this movie because I was like, there's no fucking, like, I cannot believe that it is a man who directed and made this scenario of this movie. So I did my little Google research, and it is actually a woman named Lisa Azuelos. It made me so happy because it just confirmed to me that this woman, Lisa, knew exactly what she was doing. Because who can better explain the highs and lows of a teenage girl's life better than a woman herself? Fun fact, this movie, LOL USA, is actually a remake of a movie named LOL, and it's actually also made by the same director, and same for the scenario, Lisa Azuelos. And I've watched this movie for the first time a week ago, and surprisingly, I really didn't like this movie. And little fun fact, if y'all didn't know, I understand French. It's one of my first languages. There was something about the French version that just didn't do it for me. First of all, I felt like it was forced. Like the dialogue, it felt kind of cheesy, even cringe. The aesthetic wasn't really there. I feel like it was just a bunch of people playing characters. I didn't felt like the immersive experience that you should feel while watching a movie. And I was kind of scared because I was like, hold on, because the last time that I've watched LOL USA, it was like 4 years ago during the pandemic. So when I watched LOL, the French version, I was like, hold on, what if when I watched LOL USA the first time after 4 years, like I won't like it? I was so wronged. So fucking wrong. I don't know what it is exactly. Maybe it's the combination of different factors, like I said, like the dialogues, but at the same time, it's the same director and the same person who did the scenario. So I don't know what it is, but I swear they put some magic, some charm in the movie LOL USA with Miley Cyrus. It is chef's kiss. And after watching this movie and before filming this podcast episode, I was like, hold on, let's see if there's someone who made a review on this movie. And I found no one. I get it, I didn't do an extensive research, but I was really surprised. Like I scrolled down, I was like, oh my god, nobody talked about this movie? So I went to Google reviews on this movie, and oh my god, the majority really like rated this movie really highly. But there were a little percentage of people who completely didn't like this movie. They were like, it's such a waste of time. Don't even like try to give it a chance. And surprisingly, or not, the ones who had a really bad opinion on this movie were all men. So that was pretty funny because it's like, you cannot get it. It's not for y'all. So I've also looked at Rotten Tomatoes, and they've rated this movie 14%. And again, it was based off of 7 ratings, and I think 6 of these people were men. When I saw this, I was like, thank God I haven't seen these reviews before watching this movie the first time when I was in my early teenage years. Because at the end of the day, it's important to still give a chance to a movie because ratings are so subjective. And I can proudly say that it's not just a me thing. Like, it's not just a little quirk of mine that I love this movie. Like, I asked my friends, like I said in the intro, and my friends, like, I don't have a friend group. Like, I have a friend here, 2 friends here, and like another one here, and they all meet up during my birthday, but it's not like a big friend group, you know? And when I talked to each of my friends, like 4 years ago, when I rewatched this movie after like 10 years, I was like, oh my god, this movie is so good. And they all agreed with me and they were like, yeah, it's true, this movie is so good. And I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. After watching this movie, you love this movie, but like when you want to recommend it to someone, it feels like you don't have like a lot to say about this movie because there isn't something big going on, like so intense. It's not like Euphoria. You have like Law USA on a scale, and on the opposite scale, you have like Euphoria. So it's not that intense, but still it's so effective. It made me realize that a great movie doesn't need to be like so intense and suspenseful and having like big turnarounds and like action scenes and stuff. Like, a great movie can still be, at the end of the day, a simple movie. This is so beautiful. This movie makes me become a poet. And the soundtrack of this movie, when Douglas Booth, Kyle in the movie, is like playing in the band, the songs that he's singing, and they're so fucking good. Like, I tried to adding them on my playlist, but they're not on Apple Music. Why? Like, please put these on like Apple Music. I need to like look through a car's window and like put this music and like there's the rain and like make like fake scenarios of me and like Douglas Booth. And honestly, at this point, any man who has teeth and fantasize about a great life that we can have together. Yeah, that would depress. So on that beautifully well said sentence, I am going to end this podcast episode now. After like, what, 20 minutes? I feel like no one's complaining on my channel about the episode's length, because sometimes I can spend an hour and a half talking about a subject, and sometimes I can spend just 20 minutes talking about a subject. It doesn't mean that I'm not as passionate about a 20-minute subject compared to the one that has a duration time of an hour and a half. It just means that I have less things to say, but having less things to say doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. It just means that now I'm trying too hard. Now I'm trying too hard to like be intelligent and like Taylor Swift like quoted poems. Like, it just means that like I have nothing else to say because this movie is just fucking good. Like, I hope I gave one of y'all the interest into watching this movie, and please, if you do, comment, DM, call me, I'll send you my number, and give me your reviews, even if they're bad. I won't judge you. But if you're like a straight frat boy man, I'll judge you. But if you're like a girly pop, don't worry about that. I won't. Because your opinion is valid in my mind, because you're the target audience. Is this wrong to say? I don't think so. So on that note, I hope you have a beautiful night of sleep and dream of Douglas Booth if you've watched the movie and seen his beauty. I hope that you'll give a chance to this movie, and for those who have already watched it, to rewatch it because it's so good. I hope you have a beautiful night of sleep. I love you. Take care. Au revoir, my loves.